Now, it is a huge pleasure to introduce our speaker for this afternoon. His work couldn't really be more relevant to the TN 2020. When I first found out he was going to be joining us, I went and did a little bit of homework, and I found 4 phrases on his website which really bizarrely relate so strongly to the work of the TN 2020, because they are: create massive change, invent cultural possibility, inspire or design positive innovation, and ignite audacious action. So if 4 phrases don't sum up TN 2020 better than that, I'd like to know what the better ones are. So our speaker for this afternoon is a designer. He probably wouldn't call himself it, but he is a visionary. He's an author and a publisher, and his latest work takes him into the field of education. One of the things he's most famous for saying is, now that anything is possible, what will we do? So to answer that question, please give a big TN 2020 welcome to our speaker this afternoon, Bruce Mau.
Thank you. It's clear that eHarmony has a real competitor here. All kinds of good action going on here. Even audacious action. So what I want to do is, quickly as I can, and it won't be too quickly, go through some of the things that are informing the work that I do, and specifically look at these 3 ideas that are part of your work: sustainable living, community resilience, and creativity and innovation. And essentially what I'd like to say about this is that you can't actually have any of them unless you have all of them. That it's a complex ecology that we need to develop as a way of solving problems. And what I want to do is a little bit look at the kind of ecology of methods that we've developed, and then some of the results that we've produced. And some of them I think are quite, as we mentioned, quite relevant to what you're trying to do here. I have to say, first of all, I'm absolutely thrilled to be here. An extraordinary group of people. I mean, it's very hopeful and optimistic to encounter this, that this is going on, and to me this is what the future looks like. So I wanted to begin talking a little bit about this, the Incomplete Manifesto for Growth. This was a text that I wrote about, I think 12 or 13 years ago, and it really was just to try to capture my own kind of personal methodology. How do I think about what I do? And in the process, what happens in our collaboration? And it had 43 points, and it had all kinds of contradictions. And even though it was called a manifesto, it was actually produced in a very light way. It wasn't, a communist manifesto. It was a manifesto, creative manifesto. And so it had all kinds of unresolved aspects in it, and it still does. The first point was allow events to change you, and you heard about that just a moment ago. In order to grow, you need to be willing to move away from what you are today. So the first requirement is the willingness to change, and to allow what you're doing to shape you. Now, we actually have good science behind this now, and when I wrote that we didn't, but we now know that your brain is actually produced by what you do. So what you do produces your brain, and you are your brain, so you are what you do. And allowing yourself to do things, therefore, allows yourself to build its own brain and to create the new you. So that's the first one. Another one was begin anywhere. This is a concept that we borrowed from John Cage, who's a great artist. And Cage basically said most people are paralyzed by the complexity they face and are in perpetual inaction because they don't know where to start. His advice was simply begin anywhere. Don't wait until you know what to do. Just get started. Number 17 is one of my favorites. Number 20, number 17 is intentionally left blank, leaving room for ideas you don't have and the ideas of others. Number 20 is be careful to take risks. It seems like a contradiction, but actually what I realized quite early on was that the things that you do produce your future. And so today is the child of your past and the parent of your future. There is a kind of genetic condition to time. And so if you're not careful to have a wonderful day that includes risk, you're sentencing yourself to a future without risk. It's a future without wonder. So for me, this is such an important idea that we have to actually experience our future in the present, or we don't have one. So that's that was the kind of spirit. I just wanted to kind of introduce that, and I want to talk a little bit about how I think and how I work, and how those two things fit together. And for me, they intersect around insight and process. So what I do is essentially insight. What I need to realize that insight is process. I need methodology to realize the kind of insight that we have about something that's going on. So it breaks out into talent and method. That there is talent, that there's something that is an ability to see patterns where other people might not. And then you need a methodology to actually realize what you're seeing. And I'm here to tell you that I can't actually help you with talent. That you can do all kinds of things to develop skills, but as Dr. Seuss once said, go ask your dad when it comes to talent. That you're on your own. I once had a wonderful conversation with a woman who runs anthropology for Microsoft, and she trains all the researchers from Microsoft around the world who look at people and how they behave to try to understand whether or not there's something they might do to help them. And I said, when you're training all these people, can you can train skills and methods. Can you train insight? Can you actually train somebody to see something in that? She at the time she was on her way to a house in Wales with an elderly couple to live for a month, just to watch them in the way that they lived. And I said, could you train someone else to watch that elderly couple and to find something there? And essentially she said no. You can train them in all the methodologies of anthropology, but you can't actually train them to have ideas.